well. So today's project, I'm going to attempt to build a mystery box from Call of Duty Zombies. So I'm heading to Home Depot now to get some materials. There's a couple pictures that I've seen online of other people that have made these, but nobody lists materials used or dimensions or anything. So I'm gonna eyeball it and just kind of gonna wing it. And I'm gonna make it roughly 4 feet wide and about 18 inches deep and 18 inches tall, roughly. Those are my rough guidelines. So I'm gonna head to Home Depot and I'm gonna grab literally the cheapest common pine boards there, because honestly, any knots or defects in the wood is only going to add to the aesthetic of what I'm going for. And I think what I'm gonna do is use 1x6 pine boards, because a 6-inch board is in reality only 5.5 inches. So if I stack those 3 high, I'll get about 16.5 inches plus the lid on top of that, plus the base. I think that'll be a good size. God, I love this truck. Minus the check engine light, but that's just a Dodge thing, right? All right, let's grab a couple of these. Oh, it's a little chilly out today. Oh, so $70 for material. I've just got 5 boards for now. I'm not great at math. I'm gonna start with this and see if I need to get more. But now let's go over to Bullshit Shed, which is just an enclosure on my trailer, because my plan is to use some of this old plywood as the base, since it's not going to be seen anyway. So let's start by cutting these down. To 48 inches. I'm actually going to cut the base so I have a template for what size I'm building it to, and I'm going to go with 48 by 16 deep. I probably should have gotten at least one more of the 1x6, but instead try to cut a corner so I can cut and rip a 2x4 down to the sizes I need for the inside supports. So I think what I'm going to do is reuse this 2x4. I'm going to cut it to 16 inches to be the inside support here to screw together. So I'll cut it to 16 inches, and then I'm going to rip it down the long way so I can get 2 pieces out of each of these. Actually, my saw came and ripped this whole way through. What I'm going to do is cut this down to 3 inches, and then I'm going to try ripping it that way. All right, so what I'm going to do is just nail these in to hold them in place for right now. I'm only using 1-inch nails, so it's not going to shoot all the way through. This is just one of the sides here, so I'm using this cutoff just to replicate the base. That's good. And just for consistency, we'll go like 8 inches in, 8 inches in-ish, roughly. I'm gonna end up using these drywall screws just because I have a ton of them around. eyeballing most of this. sand up some of the edges here. I'm not really trying to put a bevel on any of these edges. I just don't want splinters when I'm putting this thing together. All right, so my GoPro died halfway into this for today. This is where we're ending it. Got these little uprights that kind of help secure one side to the other. Plus the lid, so I have a scrap piece. When the lid eventually goes on here, it'll fold down and sit flush. Put a couple screws on the outside to secure this. Yeah, and I'm out of material. Pretty sure I'm going to need 2 more boards. Took some bad measurements. I probably could have gotten away with getting 1 more board, but you know what? I measured things, I did the math, and made the calculations. Boy, I'm bad at math. All right, guys. Day 2, did my morning errands. I got these 10-inch hinges painted black. Got them at Harbor Freight, $5 a piece. So Home Depot and Lowe's each had hinges similar to this, but they were, I think they were 8-inch, unpainted, and they were $7 or $8. So I'm actually getting black and a larger size, which I think is going to look better for less money. Also, made a discovery when I went to Lowe's to get more material today. So let me see, yesterday I went to Home Depot and I got 1x6 by 8 foot common pine boards, $13.32, roughly $14-ish after tax. And Lowe's and Home Depot had the same price, 1x6. Now I went to Lowe's today to grab the same thing and I found these 1x8 by 8 foot. They're shiplap boards, so they have a tongue and groove, but they're $9.47. So I'm getting a larger board with more material for less money. And honestly, I can flip this around. I'm wondering if this might actually be better material to use the next time around for assembling, just because they fit together so nice. I'll probably have to cut some stuff down to get to the dimensions that I want, but I'm getting more material. I can rip this down and use the extra somewhere else. So that's a win. Let's get this leftover board from yesterday. It's under 16 inches, but it's good enough in there. I'm going to rip this in half, and use it as the backer to hold this together. So, because we have tongue and groove on this, which is good for keeping them together in the middle, but I don't want these lips on the end. So I'm going to do is rip this board down here to get rid of the tongue on this side, and then once I have it fully assembled, I'll send the entire thing through with the right dimensions for the I think it's 16 inches. All right, so we got one straight cut over there. Tongue and groove goes together pretty nice like that. And then I'll nail the supports, make sure that they don't interfere with these supports here. But also one thing I found is I'm actually going to screw these to the other side, because I don't know if this is for all of the shiplap style boards, but there is a smooth finish side and the other side is much rougher. I don't know if that shows up on camera. So I'm going to put the supports on the inside, obviously, so the smoother side is facing out. Don't forget to pre-drill when you get close to an edge, because these pine boards are soft and they will split very easily. All right, so there's a little bit of flex here on the very end, so what I'm gonna do is use my 1-inch nails and I'll shoot it through from the outside. So it will be exposed a little here. Just bend the nails over. Those should stay in place good. Literally flatten them over with a hammer. All right, lid's assembled. There we go, fits nice in between. So essentially, it'll just open up like that. So I'll just scribe a line on the underside here, send it back through the table saw, and it should be the right size. All right, scribed it underneath, ran it through the table saw, flush on this side, flush on this side. I think I'm going to attach the hinges now. This will essentially just open like that. Oh, nice. So these screw holes will be fine. I'm only gonna get 2 of them in here. Nope. So my next issue is I need to get larger hardware for this because these aren't going to work. These are really too small to be holding on to this. Even my construction screws, I don't have the right size or the right length. So I guess back to Home Depot, get a pack of screws just to fix these things on here. All right, I went to Home Depot, ended up getting these number 10 by 3/4 inch screws. It was less than $1.50. And the heads fit perfectly in here, nice and flush. And when they go in here, oh, that's probably a bad angle. So they won't poke through on the other side. Perfect. So here's an experiment I'm going to try. I've done this in the past with burning wood using propane. I don't have any propane right now, so this will do. But I'm going to burn random places of the wood. It's going to get stained over it, but I'm hoping it'll cause, you know, different shades of the stain to show through, make it look a little bit more worn. Yeah. It can get a little darker by going over it the second time. You just don't want to stay in one place for too long, otherwise you'll get flames. All right, so I'm gonna end up using Jacobine stain on here. This is probably my favorite color stain. I use this on a lot of the furniture that I make around the house. I love the color so much. And it comes out to a pretty dark color from the beginning. The more coats you put on it, the darker it gets. And I'm using just a cheap microfiber rag for this. I used to use the red shop rags, but they really left too much material behind, like lint would come off of them. So I found that these microfiber rags, you can get a pack of these really cheap at Harbor Freight. These work pretty good. You can see the difference in this color here versus where it was burned. It comes out to a much darker. Yeah, I like how this is looking. I'm gonna do the lid and at least the back side so I can get the hinges screwed into there, and then I can finish the rest of the box after that. All right, and remember, consistency is good for the appearance. So I'm taking these 8 inches in to the very edge of the spindle here on both sides. Cool, cool. That's just an arbitrary number based on what I think looks good. All right, so I got the whole box stain. I'm not going to coat it with anything. I think it looks perfect the way that it is, honestly, and kind of want it to get more worn, if anything. Burn the inside as well. I did a really light coat of stain on the inside. All right, so up next, I'm gonna stencil on some of the lettering on the front. So I'm gonna end up using this pack of stencils. This is, I think, all the letters plus numbers and some symbols. I got this at Hobby Lobby. Well, $3. So it was like $3.50 after tax. Some flat black paint. Just finished painting the stenciled lettering on. Just going by some pictures I saw online, trying to make it as accurate as possible. Probably need some smaller letters. I think these were 2-inch, so I gotta see if I can find some thinner, probably like 1.5 or 1.75 to condense it a little bit more on there. And I'm probably gonna make like a template instead of going one letter at a time, because you could definitely tell, like, you know, went a little crooked here. Let's see, where else was it obvious? Some of the letters are just, they're not perfect. And even the spray can I thought would be a little easier, but it's hard to go very light on this. It wants to spray out heavy, and then you get, you know, I gotta soak up the blotches like this, but then again, it's not supposed to look perfect, so I'm not really mad with how it turned out. Well, if you're cold, they're cold. Bring them inside. For real though, it's like 28 degrees outside right now. It's essentially a finished product. I'm gonna figure out what to put inside. Honestly, I made this for myself to keep, so I can put this at the foot of my bed. It's a perfect height to sit on. Put my shoes on in the morning. Plenty of room for like extra blankets or bed sheets or whatever, but that's it. I think I'm gonna leave this one as is. Couple things I didn't really like about it. You know, the nails could probably be better. Some of my cuts could have been a little bit better on here. Not everything matched up. The box is not 100% square. This will work for what I wanted to use it for in the house. But the next rendition that I do, I will definitely cut out the question marks for the top, and I will put lights on the inside. And I'd really like to find a sound box that I can program, so when you open the box, it does the little jingle. Alright, so I'm gonna try to add everything up here, see what the total cost is. I'm gonna round on a lot of this, so $70 in material there, $20 in material there, $20 from Harbor Freight for paint and the hinges, $1.50 for the screws. So let me see, 70 plus 20 plus 20 plus $1.50. $3 for the stencil set. Well, let's just say $10 for the stain if you don't have stain already. So $125 to make that box. It's not bad. Oh, yes. Why do they always give me the sniper?